What is stress? Hello, Professor King. My name is Michael Breen. I'll be talking about stress. The reason why I chose to talk about stress was because I feel like this is the most common thing that college students experience, especially around this time of the year for finals and whatnot. Stress is common in many people, and I would like to talk about what it is, how we become stressed, how to measure stress, and how to avoid it. So, the first question that I'll answer is what is stress? Life would be very simple if all of our needs were automatically satisfied. In reality, however, many obstacles, both personal and environmental, get in the way. A promising athletic career may be brought to an end by injury. We may have less money than we need. We may be rejected by the person we love. The demands of life require that we adjust. When we experience or perceive challenges to our physical or emotional well being that exceed our coping resources and abilities, the psychological condition that results is typically referred to as stress. To avoid confusion, I will refer to external demands as stressors, to the effects that create within the organism as stress, and to efforts to deal with stress as coping strategies. It is also important to note that stress is fundamentally an interactive and dynamic construct because it reflects the interaction between the organism and the environment over time. All situations that require adjustment can be regarded as potentially stressful. Prior to the influential work of Canadian physician and endocrinologist Hans Selye, stress was a term used by engineers. Selye took the word and used it to describe the difficulties and strains experienced by living organisms as they struggled to cope with and adapt to changing environmental conditions. His work provided the foundation for current stress research. Selye also noted that stress could occur not only in negative situations, such as taking an exam, but also in positive situations, such as a wedding. Both kinds of stress can tax a person's resources and coping skills, although bad stress, also known as distress, typically has the potential to do more damage. Stress can also occur in more than one form, not just as a simple catastrophe, but also as a continuous force that exceeds the person's capability of managing. Factors predisposing a person to stress. Everyone faces a unique pattern of demands to which he or she must adjust. This is because people perceive and interpret similar situations differently, and also because, objectively, no two people are faced with exactly the same pattern of stressors. Some individuals are also more likely to develop long-term problems under stress than others. This may be linked in part to coping skills and the presence of particular resources. Children, for example, are particularly vulnerable to severe stressors such as war and terrorism. Research also suggests that adolescents with depressed parents are more sensitive to stressful events. Those adolescents are also more likely to have problems with depression themselves after experiencing stressful life events than those who do not have depressed parents. Individual characteristics that have been identified as improving a person's ability to handle life stress include higher levels of optimism, greater psychological control or mastery, increased self-esteem, and better social support. These stable factors are linked to reduced levels of distress in the face of life events as well as more favorable health outcomes. There is also some evidence from twin studies that differences in coping styles may be linked to underlying genetic differences. A major development in stress research was the discovery that a particular form of a particular gene, the 5-HTTLPR gene, was linked to how likely it was that people would become depressed in the face of life stress. Caspi and colleagues found that people who had two short forms of this gene were more likely to develop depression when they experienced four more stressful life events than were people who had two long forms of this gene. Although this specific finding was controversial for a while, a recent meta-analysis has provided clear support for the original finding. More generally, it is now widely accepted that our genetic makeup can render us more or less stress sensitive. Researchers are exploring genes that may play a role in determining how reactive to stress we are. The amount of stress we experience early in life may also make us more sensitive to stress later on. The effects of stress may be cumulative, with each stressful experience serving to make the system more reactive. Evidence from animal studies shows that being exposed to a single stressful experience can enhance responsiveness to stressful events that occur later. Rats that were exposed to stressful tail shocks produced more of the stress hormone cortisol when they were later exposed to another stressful experience. Other biological changes associated with stress were also more pronounced in these rats. These results suggest that prior stressful experiences may sensitive us biologically, making us more reactive to later stressful experiences. The term stress tolerance refers to a person's ability to withstand stress without becoming seriously impaired. Stressful experiences may also create a self perpetuating cycle by changing how we think about or appraise the things that happen to us. Studies have shown that stressful situations may be related to or intensified by a person's cognitions. This may explain why people with a history of depression tend to experience negative events as more stressful than other people do. For an example, if you're feeling depressed or anxious already, you may perceive a friend canceling a movie date as an indication that he or she doesn't want to spend time with you, even though the reality may be that a demand in his or her own life has kept his or her from keeping your date. When you feel bad, you will be much more inclined to come to a negative conclusion about what just happened rather than see the situation in a more balanced or more optimistic way. Can you think of an example in your life when something like this has happened to you? A time that's happened like this with me, it happens all the time. Um, my roommates and I are very, very spontaneous, and sometimes when they go to lunch or dinner, I think of it as them like measuring life stress. How do we measure stress in our life? Life changes, even positive ones, such as being promoted or getting married, place new demands on us and may therefore be stressful. The stress from life changes can trigger problems even in disorders, such as bipolar disorder, that have strong biological underpinnings. The faster life changes occur, the greater the stress that is experienced. A major focus of research on life changes has concerned the measurement of life stress. Years ago, Holmes and Raw developed the social readjustment rating scale. This is a self-report checklist of fairly common stressful life experiences. Although easy to use, limitations of the checklist method later led to the development of interview-based approaches such as the life events and difficulty schedules. One advantage of the LEDS is that it includes an extensive manual that provides rules for rating both acute and chronic forms of stress. The LEDS system also allows raters to consider a person's unique circumstances when rating each life event. For example, if a woman who is happily married and in good financial circumstances learns that she is going to have a baby, she may experience this news in a way that is quite different from that of an unmarried teenager who is faced with the prospect of having to tell her parents that she is pregnant. Although interview-based approaches are more time-consuming and costly to administer, they are considered more reliable and preferred for research in this area. How to avoid stress management. Stress is a part of life and you can't always avoid it, but you can try to avoid situations that can cause it, and you can control how you respond to it. The first step is knowing your own coping strategies. Try tracking your stress to record stressful events, your response to them, and how you coped. After you know what is causing your stress, try making some changes in your life that will help you avoid stressful situations. Here are a few ideas. Manage your time. Time management is a way to find the time for more of the things you want and need to do. It helps you decide which things are urgent and which can wait. Managing your time can make your life easier, less stressful, and more meaningful. Look at your lifestyle. The choices you make about the way you live affect your stress level. Your lifestyle may not cause stress on its own, but it can prevent your body from recovering from it. Try to find a balance between personal work and family needs. This isn't easy. Start by looking at how you spend your time. Maybe there are things that you don't need to do at all. Finding a balance can especially be hard during the holidays. Have a sense of purpose in your life. Many people find meaning through connections with family or friends, jobs, their spirituality, or volunteer work. Get enough sleep. Your body recovers from the stresses of the day while you are sleeping. If your worries keep you from sleeping, keep a notepad or your cell phone by your bed to record what you are worried about to help you let it go while you sleep. For example, if you're worried you might forget to run an errand the next day, make a note so that you can stop worrying about forgetting. Adopt healthy habits. Eat a healthy diet. Limit how much alcohol you drink and don't smoke. Staying healthy is your best defense against stress. Exercise. Even moderate exercise, such as taking a daily walk, can reduce stress. Get support. Support in your life from family, friends, and your community has a big impact on how you experience stress. Having support in your life can help you stay healthy. Support means having the love, trust, and advice of others, but support can also be something more concrete, like time or money. It can be hard to ask for help, but doing so doesn't mean you're weak. If you're feeling stressed, you can look for support from family and friends, coworkers, or people that you know through hobbies or other interests. A professional counselor, people you know from church or a member of the clergy, employee assistance programs at work, or stress management classes and support groups. These can be very helpful if your stress is caused by special situations. Maybe you're a caregiver for someone who's elderly or has a chronic illness. Change your way of thinking. Stressful events can make you feel bad about yourself. You might start focusing on only the bad and not the good in a situation. That's called negative thinking. It can make you feel afraid, insecure, depressed, or anxious. It's also common to feel a lack of self control or self worth. Negative thinking can trigger your body's stress response, just as real threat does. Dealing with these negative thoughts and the way you see things can help reduce stress. You can learn these techniques on your own, or you can get help from a counselor. Here are some ideas. Cognitive behavior therapy helps you cope with a problem by changing the way you think. How you think affects how you feel. Problem solving. Problem solving helps you identify all aspects of a stressful event, find things you may be able to change, and deal with things you can't change. Assertive communication. Assertive communication helps you express how you feel in a thoughtful, tactful way. Not being able to talk about your needs and concerns creates stress and can make negative feelings worse. Thank you for listening to my presentation about stress. I hope you learned a lot from this, as I did from this whole class. I just want to thank you, Dr. King, for everything you did, and I enjoyed this class very much and got to learn so much about psychology that I wouldn't have learned any other way. Again, thank you, and I hope that someday I can have another class with you. And yeah, hope you have happy holidays, and hope to see you soon.